Superman number 4, written by George Perez, art by Jesus Marino. We left off last issue with Superman beating an ice lady who was also the reporter Heather that he knows, and seemingly she became possessed by the same aliens that all the other 3 people have been. Anyway, this issue picks up with the police interrogating Jimmy Olsen and, I'm forgetting her name, Miko Ogawa, who were both also there at the site when the Heather turned into the ice thing. And they're just recapping the last issue, and they're going back and forth apparently, and I'm not going to bother. And then they said, oh, well, what's Superman saying? And then they show how Superman's just recapping the last issue, and it's just the last issue, and the police don't believe him for whatever reason. But then immediately a rookie cop comes barging in and was just like, hey, so that Heather lady, she's been missing since that happened. She's on TV right now. So they flip on the TV, and she's like, all I remember is I was trapped in some sort of icy prison, and then Superman set me free. And I just remember his heat vision and him saying the words, forgive me. And the cops are like, were you going to kill somebody? And immediately the Commissioner David Corporon, I think a new character, comes in, and he's like, hey, Superman is a national presence. Stop interrogating him. Stop asking him questions. We're not treating him like we did 5 years ago. Check out Action Comics. So Superman just flies off and tries to figure out what to do about Heather. He sees Heather's like climbing in the car. She's like, okay, all right. So she's going to be back on the air to share more of her story, and I should just talk to her before that. He changes back into Clark Kent, gets on the phone, and Lois is the one who ends up calling him. And Lois calls him out on the fact that he was in Smallville immediately before Metropolis, which is a major distance. They are ridiculously far apart. One is Kansas, one's supposed to be New York, so it's a ways. And Clark completely forgot he was in Smallville. And he's like, yeah, I thought I could catch a plane. That's why I said I was in Metropolis. And Lois is like, yeah, all right, whatever, bye. I'm skipping ahead over a lot of this because this is as dense as any other issue. And Clark is like, why couldn't I remember that I was in Smallville? What's going on here? So Lois gets pissed at Jimmy and Miko for, I don't know, questioning Clark's loyalty or something like that. But then she has video. Lois has a video of Superman flying out of the Smallville cemetery. So, dead to rights, she has to know that Clark is Superman now, but whatever. So we see later on that day when Heather is being interviewed for more about her story, and she basically just covers for Clark because Clark was supposed to be the one who was running the story, since he's the one who's all about the homeless whatever, blah, blah, blah. But she basically covers and says, hey, Clark wasn't there. He was never supposed to be there, so there's no reason that you have to question him for anything. Which I don't understand why that's such a big deal, that he can't be questioned for this. True, he'd have to come up with some fake story, but you'd think that'd just be secondhand to him by now. We cut over to the other 2 alien guys who are standing at the rubble of some place. I think it was where they were interviewing that last time. And they attack some cops. We cut back to the interview, and the guy who's hosting it's like, I have proof that Clark, and he's saying this off air, he's like, I have proof that Clark was there. And he's like, well, I wasn't. So anyway, Heather and Clark, they end up talking, and then Heather uses a weird speech bubble to signify she's talking an alien now. And then we see, it just all of a sudden happens where now he's in his Superman gear. All 3 aliens are standing in the rubble of this building, and they're all just talking and saying, they're thinking. None of them are actually talking. They're all thinking. And they're basically saying, hey, so you don't remember us. We were trying to talk to you, but we realized that we weren't compatible or something, so we had to recalibrate our psychic interfaces. I don't care about any of this. Basically, they don't even explain what they're doing. This is the most they say. What cannot be adapted must be eradicated for the sake of environmental capability. That is what we were created to do. That's it. It goes on for 3 pages, but that's all they say. So anyway, Superman starts to get pissed and he starts like attacking them and whatever. We cut real quick over to Perry White and Lois Lane, who are basically just talking like, oh man, things have been so crazy. I can't believe I'm on a TV show. I sure hope Clark's okay. Oh wow, that's a big explosion over there. Wonder what's happening. So he's just fighting all these aliens, whatever. And once he finally has them beaten down, they say that they're commencing the purge, which then causes an entire swarm of mechanical like flies and maggots and stuff to start flying after Superman, and they keep like multiplying by the second. So he tries to take them out, but he just gets overrun by them, and he sees the three aliens again standing over top of him, and he's like, whoa, hold on, you said you were created, who created you? And before he goes into blackness, they just said, you did. This was dumb. This was really like, this is ostensibly what we've been building to. This has been what the past 3 issues of like, huh? What are you talking about? Have finally come to a head. And I don't care. I don't care at all. This was so, like, none of it, from the action side of it to the normal, like, news side of it, none of it made sense. I don't get it. I don't get any of it. I don't. No. Just no. Okay, I'm giving this like a 5. I'm giving it a 5, and I'm only giving it a 5 on the sense that it's clearly left off to be a cliffhanger, but I cannot overstate how much like the last 5 pages are just them saying the exact same thing over and over again. It is our prime function. Change what is changeable. Adapt, blah, blah, detecting. It's just them talking in computer. And I'm like, this was the lead up? They were talking in alien speech for so long, but in reality all they were saying was an MS-DOS window? Are you kidding me? I don't know. It's not for me. I'm giving it a 5. Art-wise, it's okay. I don't have any qualms with it. I'm not huge on the way they do Clark. He just seems a bit too off for me, but hey, that's just me. It better get better. That's all I can hope for. It better get better.